Hi and welcome back to the channel. It's true, my name is Norf, and you may be one of the ones that have decided that you want to be part of the Great Resignation 2022. Or you may have been headhunted for a new challenge. Or you've decided that you're going to flex your entrepreneurial muscles. Whatever your situation, congratulations for taking that leap of faith and getting that new challenge. In this video, I'd like to share 5 of the observations that I have learned in my experience of when you start something new. A new job, you're starting something entrepreneurial, you're doing something that's out of your comfort zone that's very, very different. I'd like to share 5 of my observations that I've learned in my experience. So as is customary on the channel, strap yourselves in and let's get started. So the bottom line is you've managed to snag yourself a new role, be it something entrepreneurial, you've been headhunted, or you've decided to start something new. And I tip my hat to you, congratulations. You might be on a real serious high. You've got through the interview, you've absolutely smashed it, you've got the new role, you've signed the paperwork and off you go. And at the moment you might be really excited. I've got this new job, great new title, huge amounts of cash coming in, whatever your particular situation. But what happens on day 1? What happens on day 30? What happens on day 60? The shiny side of getting a new job may well start to fade. But in this video, I'd like to share 5 of the things that I've experienced, observations of when you start a new job. And these are things that will take you through from day 1 all the way through to day 1000 if you happen to remain in that role. In week 1, you might be thinking, this is superb, I'm pleased I've made this. In week 2, things may start to go sideways. Week 3, it could be that things start to go rapidly south. But how do you hang on to this new role? How do you make it work for you? So in this video, the first of my 5 points is to create a 30, 60, 90-day plan. What does that look like? Broadly broken down, your 30, 60, 90-day plan will be in your first 30 days, you observe, you watch, you listen, and that gives you an opportunity to ask all of those questions. Some of them may be really good, appropriate, targeted questions. Others may be, to you, crazy questions. But in the first 30 days of getting your new role, this is where you need to be observing and listening, understanding, asking those questions to seek to understand, so you are in the best place for success. You've never been in this situation before, so this gives you a great opportunity to observe and understand. Of course, you'll be getting yourself set up on some of the HR systems, you'll be getting to know your leadership team, your subordinates if you have them, and also your peers. You'll also be understanding who your competition are if you are working for one of these big technology companies or a sales company, whatever it may be. These are some of the things that you want to be understanding and getting to grips with in your first 30 days in your new role. This gives you an opportunity to ask those potentially daft questions, although in my experience, no question is a daft question. It also gives you a wonderful opportunity to exercise your curiosity muscles. When day 60 comes around, this is where you want to be applying some principles that you've already learned in your first 30 days to begin to ramp up in your new role. What does setting yourself up for success look like at day 60 and up to day 89? Broadly, the middle section of day 60 to 90 is where you want to be in your transition plan, to be applying some of the things that you've learned during your first 30 days and applying those in days 60 to 90. This is where you want to be ramping up. This is where you want to be starting to set goals. This is where you want to start to take on more responsibility to really get yourself front and center in your new role. Of course, you won't have all the answers at day 60, absolutely not. But some of the things that you've learned, some of the things that you've observed, you should be able to start applying in day 60 up to day 89 or 90. Broadly, at day 90 and beyond is where you want to be contributing to the team's success. Also contributing to your success with everything that you have learned before day 90. But if you're at day 90 and you're not quite there, that's fine. Cut yourself some slack. It may be something completely new. A great tip to include at day 90 or around that sort of time are to put in self-imposed SMART goals. Of course, SMART, as you know, being specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. The key thing is the component that is measurable. It'll be great to go back to some of your leadership team to say, well, this is what I've observed in my first 90 days. Here are some of the things that I want to put in place. Here are some of the things that I think I can really add value to, and I can take on more responsibility. Why? That ensures that you become a valuable member of that team, even in your first 90 days. The second of my 5 observations that I've learned from my experience is having the mindset that every day is a school day. What do I mean by that? Whenever you can, be it every day or every other day or every week, ensure that you get your learn on. There are so many things that we can be learning and reading and understanding to help us with our day job. Every Friday from 10 a.m. for a couple of hours, I've actually blocked out a time where I get my learn on. Some call it sharpening the saw, some call it observation or learning time. Whatever you choose to call it, it's a great idea to block out 2 hours every week to learn, to read through what's going on in your field of expertise or even in adjacencies. For me, a big mantra is every day is a school day. What are the things that I'm going to do to learn to stay at the forefront of innovation, to stay at the forefront of what's going on? How can I lead my team? How am I an effective leader and an effective content creator? Every single week, almost without fail, I try to stick to those 2 hours of getting my learn on. It may be a Friday for you, it may be a Wednesday, but whatever day of the week that you find is the best day, block out at least an hour. 2 is better, but block out that time so you can get your learn on. If that time is blocked out, that time is ring-fenced, which means that no one else can put meetings in there, and that time is yours. That time is yours to invest in yourself. Because if you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will. The third of my observations in my experience this week is simply the fear of failure. The internet is littered with fails. However, for me, fail simply stands for first attempt in learning. You may be thinking, gracious me, what have I done? Why have I left my role? I knew what I was doing before. Here I feel like a small fish in a big pond. That is absolutely okay. Remember, when you went through the interview, they chose you. Out of a list of people, you were the one that absolutely smashed it. So when it comes to that sense of being fearful of failing, it's all right. This is your first attempt in learning. You can also be sure to understand that if you do have that fear of failure, that you think that you're failing in some way, shape or form, be sure to remember, who was it that hired you? And out of how many people? This is where you need to believe in the skills that you showed to the team of people or the groups of individuals that you were interviewing with. They were the ones that chose you. You have something that they want. Of course, there is your thing to do. You've got to ensure that you're getting your arms around this new role as quickly as possible. Why? You bring a critical perspective to what they need in their business. Fear of failure may also lead to impostor syndrome, which is absolutely real. We all go through that thing of feeling like we're a bit of an imposter, and only a few weeks ago did I go through that. But a really good friend of mine, Lucy from the Czech Republic, simply waved her finger at me and said, "You're not an imposter, Norf. You need to sort your life out. You're not. You're actually very, very good." And it's at times like these where we need not to be, and this is my fourth point, to be an island. Nothing great comes out of us being in a silo. We often do need to lean on our friends and our families. Those are the ones who really do see the best in us. Of course, none of this stuff is really easy, and it does take time to change your mindset. But your mindset has got a huge part to play in how you're feeling and what the facts are. And for me, one of my new mantras to help me with my mindset to remain positive is try to fail rather than fail to try. And we all know what fail means, don't we? Yes. This is where we need the help of our friends. And let me borrow a quote from Steve Jobs, who said, "Great things in business are never done by one person. They're always done by a team of people." And this can be applied directly to your role as well. What you do is never done by one person. It's always done by a team of people. And the team of people that you will have will be your friends, your family, and some really good colleagues that you're beginning to learn to have around you. After all, as humans, We are relational beings, and this is where we need the help of other people around us to support us as we move forwards. My fifth and final tip this week of things that I've experienced when I've started a new role is to create something I call a smile file. A smile file enables you to create and collate a record of your achievements. It also helps you re-establish why you're there in that role. I love the fact that every day is a school day, and this is where you need to be inspired, but don't keep it to yourself. Inspire someone else with what you've either done, what you're learning, what you're reading, what you're watching. So what have you done well in this role? Who's given you kudos for delivering something on time or going above and beyond? Capture those things in a smile file. I would highly recommend that you create two types of smile file. One being digital, one being physical. In the digital smile files, you may capture things like emails, pictures, you can take screenshots of things that you've done, photographs of what you've delivered, and then inside the physical smile file may well be cards that you've been given or just little things that you want to collect. And then when you're feeling that sense of being an imposter, this is where the smile file kicks in. Jump back and have a look at some of the things that you've achieved. That will help you shift your focus and shift your mindset into saying, yes, I can do this, and yes, I have done this. By way of example, this actually sits in my physical smile file. This is where I won an award for being best director on a team building activity. This actually sits on my shelf just up here, but you get the idea of if you do have and you do create a physical smile file, when you're not particularly firing on all four cylinders or you're feeling a little bit down, just take a look at these things, and this will give you the impetus and encouragement that you need to continue. A tip when you're creating your digital smile file is to ensure that you put the date in your smile file as well. The date of when that achievement actually happened. Of course, you'll put the content in, who it's from, what you actually did, but also make sure that you've got the date in there as well. Trust me, that will be a fantastic thing to look back on. I know all of this is easier said than done. However, by improving 1% every day, by the end of a year, you will have achieved so much. But hey, don't take my word for it. James Clear wrote a book on it. And that's it for this week. 5 observations that I've learned in my experience when starting a new job. The first is to create a 30, 60, 90-day plan. The second is to have that growth mindset of knowing that every day is a school day and blocking out time each week to get your learn on. The third of my observations this week is getting bound up by the fear of failure. But if you change the meaning of fail, which is simply first attempt in learning, that should free you up. The fourth of my observations is not to become an island. And if you're someone that's established in that team, don't create islands either. And the fifth of my observations is to create a smile file. 2, in fact, one that's digital and one that's physical. I'm curious though, if you started a new role, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what role it is and some of the challenges that you're up against, and also some of the wins that you've achieved as well. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time here. You may know that I'm a huge fan of the number 3, so if you would, please do 3 things for me. If you like the content, please do give me a thumbs up. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on when I upload brand new content to the channel. Again, thank you for choosing to spend your time here. Huge congratulations again for landing your new role and moving it forwards, and I'll see you next time.